Andersen deep into the corner. He'll absorb a couple of hits, but he'll get it to Blake. Out in front, and they'll score! Robinson sets up Jackson Blake, and the rookie's got 2 in a row. Now into the middle, worked across for Necas. They score! A power play goal for Carolina. Blondes have more fun. Marty Necas into the Pittsburgh zone. He'll feed it across. Kochetkov, Gostisbehere. They score on the power play. Gostisbehere let it go cleanly, and Shayne Gostisbehere comes up with his second goal of the season and his first power play marker.
Well, the Ghost is saying boo for the second consecutive second period in Halloween October. Back bar.
Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. Another good night, second night in a row. I think everybody's feeling much better than they did a week ago tonight. Funny how a week changes a lot of things. I am Adam Gold. We are brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. You can see it right there. Lower left-hand portion, right-hand portion. Lower right-hand portion. Well, whatever. Of your screen. Aluminumcompany.com. Everything for your exterior home improvement needs. So the game against Tampa is well in our rear view mirror now, and so far through 3 games, you can't draw any major conclusions from anything, but game 1 does appear to be the outlier. I think we would all agree. Game 2, Tuesday night against the Devils, hey, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Devils had played the previous day in an afternoon game at home against Utah, I believe. And they won, I think, 3-0. So maybe a little fatigued. They played a lot of hockey. That was their 6th game already Tuesday. Hurricanes were scheduled to start the season Friday, then play again Saturday in Tampa, but it still would have been their 6 to our 3. And there's all that travel back from Czechia. They played the first 2 games of the season against the Sabres in the Global Series game. And maybe Carolina was just, they had a little bit of a jump because, well, whatever. Devils were an excellent team, and they were good the night before or the day before. Carolina just dominated the game. But you could explain that. Well, Pittsburgh played 2 nights ago. I think they were at home to Buffalo. Scored late to get it into overtime, and then Sidney Crosby won it in overtime, his first goal of the year in their 5th game. And the Penguins had been scored a ton of goals. They had 3 wins in their first 5. In each of their 3 wins, they scored 6 goals. This was not going to be easy. It was going to be difficult to hold them down. Well, we watched it, and the Hurricanes kicked the Penguins all over PBG. I don't even know what it's called. The paint shop. They kicked them all over their own playground in a 4-1 win. For my money, I don't know how it was just 4-1. Carolina played a type of game that deserved 7 goals tonight. Not a single player didn't play well. I think second straight game that happened. And the thing that you like about it is because it was so indicative of the way this team should play, hopefully will play, all year long. Funny thing about last year, and I think we'll all agree on this, is that for as good as they were last year, they didn't always play the typical Carolina Hurricanes hockey. How long did it take them to even... They were still having doubts about, I don't know what we're doing. We're not playing the way we're supposed to play. Even when they were winning, we were hearing that. And it was a team that did not play to the typical Hurricanes identity, forecheck, hound pucks everywhere. But we saw that against the Devils. I think we saw that more tonight. I think we saw it more against the team that offensively was playing at a high level. You've got Erik Karlsson and Chris Letang still in the lineup. I thought the goaltender played really well. Bloomqvist, I thought, played remarkably well tonight. Did everything he could to keep that just at 4 goals. But some of that was him. Some of that was bad luck. Carolina hit 4 posts tonight. Jordan Staal deflection. The Hurricanes had 18 skaters in the game. 2 of them, only 2, did not register a shot on goal. Jalen Chatfield had 2, I think, pretty good opportunities to score. Didn't put a shot on net. And Jordan Staal deflected a Brent Burns shot, I think it was, either a Burns or a Slavin shot, off the post. Like he almost scored a goal. So everybody for the Hurricanes tonight was on top of their game. And I think the best, and they could have scored again. They could have scored 7 goals. But the best thing they did tonight was defend. I thought it was, yes, they forechecked well and they had the puck a lot, but Carolina didn't shoot the puck 95 times tonight. You know, at 5-on-5, it really wasn't one of those shoot from everywhere, although they did have 39 shots on goal. This was a defensive clinic. And if you go back and you watch I think there were 2 Pittsburgh power plays. Maybe one. I don't know. There were a couple of Pittsburgh power plays. They might have both been in the first period. I think one in the first, one in the second. I don't know. Pittsburgh was 0 for 5 in the power play tonight. And look at how many times the Hurricanes, I wouldn't even call them blocked shots. I don't know how they're scored, if you will. But Malkin's going to shoot the puck. Aho sticks on him. On the blade of Malkin's stick. So there's really no shot. Maybe it's a block shot, I don't know. Burns did that. Roslovic did that. Maybe not on the power play, but Aho, Slavin. Slavin was the best player in Pittsburgh tonight. So just taking the puck from you, knocking the puck off your stick. You think you have it. All of a sudden, you're gone. You don't. Jacob Slavin's got the puck. It was one of those games, I thought, for Slavin. He just makes so many simple plays that erase scoring opportunities. Like, I'm not sure that I think there was one play in the game where I was like, what are you doing? And I think it was a Dmitry Orlov. Like, he tried to go for a puck. It wasn't a pinch. He tried to go play a puck in the offensive end, and he couldn't get there. They went the other way, but Carolina was back. It was when the top line was on the ice, and I actually think it was Svechnikov who had tracked back defensively to cover for Orlov. That might have been the only thing all night long where I went, that was it. It was just that kind of a defensive game. And that's the kind of game you want to get all of it because they generate so many good scoring chances. In the first 2 periods, gosh, I mean, it really should have been more than 3-1. It should have been 5 or 6-1 after 2 periods. Should have been a laugher. And there's part of me that is somewhat alarmed isn't the right word, but it's a little concerning when you have the puck and you have so many good opportunities to score and you don't bury them. Because what I was afraid of was the Hurricanes being dominant for 40 minutes and it's still 3-1. And then if you don't get off to a good start in the 3rd period, if you let in a goal 2 minutes in, like 40 minutes of ass kicking, now all of a sudden it's somewhat up in the air because you didn't do enough with it. So 3-1 was great, but the game felt like a 5-1 or a 6-1 game, the way it was being played. And I think Rod likes the roster. I think they definitely need, if you want to compete with the Devils and the Rangers and the Panthers and let's say the Maple Leafs, and the Bruins, you want to compete with those teams, they're going to have to find another weapon. Personally, I think that weapon needs to be a center. You know, if we're thinking long-term down the road, and like I wasn't even planning on talking about it like this today, but there's a reason, and we'll get to the beginning of the road trip in a second, but that to me is where, if you want to compete at that level, if you want to compete to go deep into the playoffs, make it to the Stanley Cup Finals and take a swing at it, they're going to need a bona fide scoring number 2 center. And that's not to say that, yes, Barry Kotkaniemi didn't play a good game tonight, or the last 2 games. I think he's been very good. And I thought Jack Drury was very good tonight. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. But to me, that's the piece that they were missing last year, that we were hoping that Evgeny Kuznetsov could be, and he wasn't. All right, before the road trip started, the Hurricanes put Brendan Lemieux on waivers for the purpose of assigning him to Chicago. He cleared, was assigned to Chicago. I don't know if he went to Chicago or not. I assume he did, because he's going to play. He's got to play some games. I talked to Rod Brindamore about it. Rod likes him. He likes him around the team. But right now, as healthy as you could possibly be, that's the Hurricanes. And we have the one set of back-to-backs, this one here, and then it's 2 days off, and then it's every other day until you come back and play Boston. So the schedule is somewhat friendly. So there's no need for an extra player. And what the Hurricanes are going to do a lot this year, and I think you'll see it from time to time, even with Jackson Blake, in terms of making a paper move to put him, to essentially send him to the minor leagues so they can save cap space. And right now, if you look at their projected deadline cap space, it's closer to $7 million. And they needed long-term injured reserve just to get Jackson Blake on the roster. So they're really smart with how they do it. And I think as long as they can do it, they're just going to dress the minimum 20 players. And they'll just continue to build cap space, which is smart, because I think, and I appreciate them thinking about the deadline. I don't think they'll ever do a rental again like last year. Not that Jake Guentzel wasn't a good buy and all that. He was certainly a good player here. But I don't think they'll do any deal at the deadline that doesn't come with, this is not just a 1-year grab at a player. It'll be, all right, we have you for this year and next year, and who knows, maybe how long. But yeah, I don't think they'll do it that way again. Just made me laugh when I talked to Dundon. He says, I didn't want to do it this time. Anyway, couple of things about the game and about specific players. And we're not going to be here too much longer. And I do want to go through the chat here, I guess, just to, and we'll say hi to people. Let's see if we can Nashville. Aaron's in Nashville. Hi, Aaron. How's Brady Skjei? We love Brady Skjei. I miss Brady Skjei. He's one of my favorite former Hurricanes. California Caniacs approve. Love that. Shouts to you in Cali. Northern or Southern? William is in Western North Carolina. I hope you're doing well, William. If you want to drop in the chat and let us know how you're doing. And we have Josh in Lexington, Kentucky. Josh, say hi to my guy, Matthew Lawrence. He's on the radio in Lexington, one of my favorite human beings of all time. All right, let's go through a couple of things. Power play looked good tonight, didn't it? Talked about the power play today, I think on the radio, maybe with Rod, maybe with Tripp. I don't remember, man. This day has been killing me. And frankly, I'm lucky I can speak. I really am. I had a tough time talking today. Power play for me has just been very finessey, but also slow. It's almost as though you have a bunch of guys who don't know each other, even though they do know each other, and they have all played together. But it almost seems like you have a bunch of guys who are just unsure. I will say this. Sebastian Aho, who has normally been in the bumper on the power play, is assuming the old Teuvo Teravainen spot. He's more at the Sometimes he's at the top along like the right point with Gostisbehere on the left point. Sometimes he's on the half wall. And we haven't seen Aho there a lot. He's mostly been in the bumper. He's mostly been like around the net. But he's drifted in the slot a lot, but we haven't seen him all the way on the right-hand side, especially up top. So I think there's some getting used to it for Aho. Jarvis always works around, like make a semicircle, like 15 feet out from the goal either side. And he kind of rotates around there, and he's in front a ton. But to me, the key for the power play tonight, yes, Necas scored. Yes, Gostisbehere scored. To me, the key on the power play tonight was quicker puck movement, better handling of the puck, better passing of the puck, in terms that there weren't that many times where you made a pass to the wrong leg of a player or the wrong side of a shooter. The passing was just a little bit more on target tonight, which allowed them to move the puck faster and not get bogged down. Pittsburgh's an excellent penalty killing team. You go back over the years, when the Hurricanes are 1 or 2, Pittsburgh is usually the 1 or the 2 along with the Hurricanes. So the fact that the Canes went 2 for 4 in the power play tonight, super significant against a Penguins penalty kill that is by and large outstanding. All right, so that's one thing I wanted to get through. The second thing I wanted to get to was Northern California Sharks territory. Bless your heart. Bless your heart, Jameis. Whew. Not going well for San Jose, although they do have a win, right? So Aaron is lamenting the Preds. They are also not off to a good start. Nor is Colorado. Last look, they were losing 2-1 to Anaheim at home, trying to avoid going 0-5. Little River, South Carolina. Perry checks in. Thank you very much, Perry. Clay is in Maine. Jess is in Pittsburgh. Hope you followed the Canes tonight in Pittsburgh. I assume you did. Pretty stupid of me to even say that, Adam. The penalty kill. This goes sound weird, right? Because the penalty kill gave up 2 goals against Tampa and a goal against the Devils. But we're all paying attention, right? I think the penalty kill has been outstanding. I mean, really, really good. Going back to the Tampa game. Tampa had 6 power plays officially. One of them was 4 seconds. Kick it out. 5 power plays. 3 of them got nothing. 0. No danger at all. 2 of them, they won a face-off, got the puck once to Kucherov, the other time to Braden Point, scored goals. That was it. You win those face-offs when you make Tampa or anybody go 200 feet, because it's not easy to set up. It's not easy to get the puck in the zone and set up. And when the Hurricanes can force teams to go 90 feet, like even winning the first face-off just is so significant, especially for Carolina. But those 2 power play goals that they allowed, Tampa won an offensive zone faceoff. Ultimately, Kucherov and Point are 2 of the best in the last 20 years in their respective places on the power play. Point's as good as there is in the NHL in the bumper, and there's nobody better than Kucherov on the right half wall. So, those are the 2 power play goals against Tampa. The one against New Jersey was a 5-on-3. And I think Carolina was doing a pretty good job, except it's a 5-on-3. You're supposed to give up a goal. It's like a goalkeeper stopping a penalty in a soccer match. You're supposed to give up the goal. You're not supposed to stop it. So those are the 3 power play goals that Carolina's allowed. If you go back and you look at the 3 games they played, the penalty kill's been dynamite. So I got no problem with that. All right. I wanted to highlight 3 defensemen. We're not going to, but we're going to be here about another 10 minutes. Jess did go to the game. I'm glad. Did you go to Primanti Brothers? Because if you went to Primanti Brothers, I'd like to know what you got. The 3 defensemen I wanted to talk about. 1, Shayne Gostisbehere. My conversation with Tim Gleason, who runs the defense and is in charge of the penalty kill. when we talked about Gostisbehere, he said, when we got him, and I know I've talked about this with Tripp, and you might have heard Tripp and I talk about it. When we got Gostisbehere from Arizona a couple of years ago, we were told all about, we knew about his offense, and we needed offense. We needed power play help, so we got him. But what they found out was the way he wants to play, likes to play, fits the way Carolina plays with their blue line. And defensively, he was better than they thought he was going to be. He was very good. In fact, Tim said, we thought his defense was better than his offense. His offense was good. I remember Gostisbehere, I believe, scored a power play goal in his first start against his old team that night. So they loved his defense. I think he's been great defensively. I think his partner, Sean Walker, also fits in, but I wasn't really going to talk about Walker here. But I think that those two guys as a pair, the Ghost Walker pair, love it, especially in the month of October, they just fit. Carolina's three pairs just fit together. So let me get to the top pair. And I made reference to it in the aftermath. And I probably made reference to it at some point during the game. Jaccob Slavin was in ESPN's top 100 players in the NHL list. He came in 96th. He was the 23rd ranked defenseman. Now, we're not going to argue. We're not going to go down the list of the defensemen that were ahead of Jaccob Slavin. It's silly. We could just say definitively, without hesitation, there are not 23 defensemen in the NHL who are better than Jaccob Slavin. There's just no chance of it. I'm not saying Jaccob Slavin's a top 5 NHL defenseman overall, because he does not necessarily add offense to your game. But in terms of being a defender, I'm not sure there's anybody in the league better than 74. He is next level elite. 3 years ago, he shepherded Tony DeAngelo around the league. Tony's defensive numbers 3 years ago were good, the best that DeAngelo had ever had. And that's simply because he was playing with Slavin. Then the marriage dissolved. Brent Burns came in. And in year one, Burns had a very good year. And I thought Burns was having a good year last year until maybe the last month or so, and then his play fell off. The Slavin is so good that you could put, as long as the guy he's playing with can skate, you got no issues at all. He can play with anybody. If I could skate, he would make me a competent defensive skater, defenseman. That's how good Slavin is. That's how good he played again tonight. To me, best player in the game. And Burns looks like he has regained form. Still early. This is just the third game. But I thought Brent Burns was excellent tonight. I thought he was really good on Tuesday night against the Devils. And I didn't hate his game against Tampa on a week ago. So very encouraging, because one of the keys to this season I felt going in was if Carolina's blue line, you're going to miss Skjei and Pesce like crazy. It's the most underrated defensive pair in the entire NHL. So you miss those guys. And Walker and Gostisbehere are both more offensive-minded. That means that Orlov and Chatfield had to be excellent to cover for those two guys, and you hope that Brent Burns wasn't the Brent Burns of April and May. because that Brent Burns, we had a problem. My conversations with nobody within the team, but with a lot of people who cover the team and follow the team, was that if Burns wasn't a good version of himself, Carolina was going to have some issues. Could you move Chatfield up? Then what do you do? Who plays with Orlov? You don't. Can Sean Walker play with Orlov? Maybe, but Walker's not by nature defensive-minded. So there's really only one defense-first right-shot defenseman on the Hurricanes, and that's Jalen Chatfield. So Slavin and Burns work. Orlov and Chatfield work. So as long as Brent Burns is good Brent Burns, the Hurricanes' blue line is going to be good. I'm not going to say it's going to be better because it'll be different, but I think there might be more goals, more points from this blue line over the course of the season. I think Brent has a little bit of a step back up offensively. Orlov, I think you're going to get some offense out of Chatfield. We're already seeing Gostisbehere with a couple of goals, one on the power play tonight. But I think Gostisbehere and Walker could combine for, 70 points might be asking a lot, but 60. And they combine for 60 points. Maybe Gostisbehere gets 40 and Walker gets 20. Maybe that's not even enough. Maybe 70 is the right number. But it's impressive. And then two other things, and then we'll get out of here. We talked a good amount about Jackson Blake. What did Rod Brindamore say after the game about Jackson Blake? Got to find more ice time for him. He and Eric Robinson were the only two players under 10 minutes. Those guys made the most of their 10 minutes on the ice, of their almost 10 minutes on the ice. I think Robinson played the least, and I think Blake was maybe 10 seconds more than him. But if you watch the game, I trust most of you did, if not all of you. Every time 53 and 50 were on the ice, you knew it. Yeah, and they were doing good things. It wasn't like they were chasing. You knew it when those guys were on the ice. I thought that line was excellent. I know Rod wants to get Blake more ice time. You want to get him more ice time? Put him on the power play, which he's on anyway, the second unit. Because that line works together. So let it go. Maybe you give it a couple of extra shifts here and there. If you want to get Blake more ice time, at the same time, you're giving Drury more ice time and you're giving Robinson more. But they've earned it. Nobody isn't earning their ice time right now. But Blake, he's a good little player. He really is a good little player, man. It's fun. Isn't it fun to watch these kids who we have heard about a little bit, right? Like, Jackson Blake, what is he, a fourth-round pick? Offensively, he's probably got a lot bigger upside than Jesperi Kotkaniemi. I'm not disparaging. I'm just saying Blake could end up being a top 6 NHL forward over time. All right. And Jack Roslovic was, I think, a very good player. I gave him one of my 3 stars tonight. I thought Jack was very good. I've said this before about Roslovic. The skating is intoxicating. He is a great, smooth skater. Not quite as fast as Necas, but I mean, there's some similarities there. Is that he's just such a fabulous skater. He's a good defensive player, too. What he has never done in his career, ever, at any point, is produce points. He's only got 120-goal season in his career. I think he's only been over 40 points once. I think in the crazy pandemic year, he was tracking to get more than 40 points. But, of course, we only played, 54 games that year, right? So, and I've said this before, I'm not crazy about Kotkaniemi, Necas, and Roslovic, because for me, only Necas is the point producer there. And look, I know there was a comment about what I had said about KK. If KK just does what he's supposed to do, he was awful in the faceoff circle tonight. I think 1 out of 8, whatever. I thought he played a good game, so it didn't stop him from playing a good game. He was just bad in the faceoff circle tonight. If Kotkaniemi just does his job, if he plays big in the middle of the ice, he has a physical game, wins his draws, not tonight, but first 2 games he did. Then if he's playing with 2 guys who can score, he's going to produce points by accident. My fear is that he isn't playing with 2 guys who can score. He's playing with 1, and that's Necas. Because Roslovic, again, as I said, has not been a point producer over the course of his career. But who knows? Maybe he will here. So if Roslovic isn't producing points, would it be the worst thing we have ever seen on this earth to see Jackson Blake play there? But right now, because of all the things that Roslovic has done, hey, let that line go. To be fair, if we were ranking the lines, I would have ranked it 4th out of Carolina's lines tonight, but that isn't a knock on them. I thought they were good, but I thought the top line was outstanding. The Drury line was great. The Staal line does what the Staal line does every single stinking game, one after another, after another, after another. All right, that was exciting. We are here thanks to the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. We're not done just yet. We're not done just yet. Will points out that my bet earlier, I think I had Penguins, right? Did we have the Penguins and over? Yeah, I didn't make it this time. I made it the other night. So it didn't, this one didn't cost me the money. I am on some kind of negative roll, by the way. If you want to take my gambling advice and go the other way, you're probably doing a good job right now. So real quick, tomorrow, for the pregame and postgame and whatnot, Dennis Cox is doing all that. I'm not sure I'm gonna have a chance to watch the game. If I do watch the game, we'll have a Canes Corner podcast. I'll be in Columbia, South Carolina. If I can watch the game, we'll have it. If I can't, I'll let everybody know in some way, shape, or form. So just stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter at @agoldfan, and I'll let everybody know if we're going to do one or not. I think there's probably a 60% chance we will. So plan on it. If it doesn't happen, don't be too disappointed. Okay. But there you go. We're 2-1. The Fried Food State Fair road trip kicks off in superb style. St. Louis tomorrow, then Edmonton, Calgary, Seattle, Vancouver, and then back home to take on Boston. Until I'll say goodnight. Good night.